What's going on, Wolfpack? My name is Frosty, aka the Alpha Lycan Rock, and I am here today with a draft analysis video for our Season 6 of the RBL as we return to our home in the RBL. Now, last season for Season 5, I took the season off. I decided to get some real life personal things in order, and I did not play Season 5. I did, however, come into Season 5 for a little bit and took over for one of the coaches that had stepped away. So for the last, I think it was 4 or 5 weeks, I ended up just taking over that team. But at that point, they were 0-7, I think it was, or 0-8, and they ended up. So there was no chance for playoffs, but I did have a fun time building with that team, and we ended up actually going 3-2 with that team. So it wasn't actually all too bad. But here. Sorry, I'm thirsty. But here, we're back again. Season 6. And some things have changed from the last times we have done the RBL. Now, with this, Season 4. Let's talk about Season 4. Season 4 was terrible. It was an absolute terrible season for me, as it was the season I went 0 and I think it was 12. I had won no single game. I drafted absolutely horribly. It was a horrible draft. It really was. I'm not going to lie or say that it wasn't, because it actually was. I thought they were better than it was, or maybe it was a decent draft and I just didn't play it well. Either way, it was a terrible season. So it ended up really affecting me, and I ended up stepping away most of the way through the season, and that's when I started having to get my real life personal things in order. Now, with that, we did decide to come back. I told him I would come back for Season 6. And with Season 6, we stepped away from Gen 6 and we stepped into Gen 7. Now, there are some rules with having to do this now. First rule is we do not have to have a mega if we choose not to. We can choose not to have a mega, as before we had to choose one mon that was our mega, depended on our tier and all of that, and I'll explain more of that later. But this season there is no mega to choose. If you choose a mega, you can choose a mega, but only the ones that are already available in the game as of when the draft is happening. So I believe at this point it is only 12 or 18 mons or something like that have mega evolutions. The starting Gen 1s, Alakazam, and a couple others, they all have their mega stones, but as it is, it's not required for that. As there are a few bans, Pheromosa is banned. Tabulele was banned. It was all decided between us that we would not allow those mons, as we felt that they were highly overpowered for what they do. Some other leagues allow them. I know the GBA does not allow Lele or Pheromosa, so as it is, we're not the only ones who decided to go against that this way. Now, with this, we have been split, just like we did in Season 4. We split the league into 2 leagues. There are 24 people. We basically have RBL Aether and RBL Skull. Now, we are in the RBL Aether category, as it is. So, RBL Skull, they decided to kind of branch away from, just kind of putting people in just random groups here and there, some good players over here, some good players over there. They actually stepped away from that this season. What they did is that they put all the best people in one league. All the ones who took it seriously, all the ones who want to be here, the ones that want to do it, they're the ones who got put in, and the ones who have proven themselves to be good at this. I guess good, not good. I try not to make it sound as bad as it is. The ones who take it really seriously, I guess, is how we put it. And they got they all got put into RBL Aether, as we are. And then there's RBL Skull, which is the ones who take it seriously, but maybe not as seriously as some of the other people do. So teams like the Baltimore Rabias, Mighty Quinn, good battler, just hasn't had the best of seasons. For whatever reason, he's down in there. Also, our good buddy FTSS is down there. Totoro decided to take his way down there just because I don't think he wanted to take it as seriously this season. It's nothing against them. They're gonna have a great season. I'm looking forward to their season because they have some really good drafted teams over there. So I'm actually really interested to see some of these matches that they have, because some of their teams are really built well. But for our league, we actually have some of the best, and it's going to be very interesting. So as it is, we have the Atlanta Altarios, coached by Drunk Potatoes, aka Lucario 21. No. Sorry, that's somebody else. Or Patrick, as his name is on Discord. He's very good battler, very good records, all of that. The Atlanta Bronzongs, Flouch, he's also had a very good record. Mr. Sir Grape has come back for the Carolina Pyroars. He has made the playoffs, I believe, for the last couple of seasons. Very good battler, knows what he's doing. Nadriz, I have no idea. So I'm assuming he came in last season and did very well. Glasgow Glalie and Lucario 21, he's really good. Has been doing really good. I believe made playoffs the last season or the season before that. We have ourselves. We are in it mainly because we are season 2 champions. So, and the season before that, in season 3, we actually did make playoffs. So they felt good enough to stick me in this category after even the horrible season 4 that I had. And now we have Vade and TJG. They decided to split a team, and so I don't know who we're gonna play, whether it comes down to TJG or Vade, but they are splitting one team as they are the Hawaiian Circuitry. Joseph and the Minnesota Eon Twins are here. Multiple, he's a champion winner, and he's also a multiple playoff runner. Was also season 1 runner-up as well. So, and then we have Sturdy Brava, who has had a team name change, I believe he was the Helsinki High Jump Kicks or something. I believe that's what it was, but maybe I could be wrong on that one. But he's now the Metagross Magnetorgos. I really suck at the name. I really do. And then we have Alinsko, our runner-up from the Season 2 finals. He played us and lost to us in the Season 2 finals. Great battler. Took a couple of seasons off, but he did come back last season. Played very well. Made playoffs. We have Albre, who's just consistently gotten better as the seasons have gone along. I remember Season 2, we 6-0'd him twice, and then he's just consistently gotten better as a battler, so he's going to be very good. And then we have the Seattle Scumlords with Gmars and Survive. Gmars creates some of the most inventive sets ever, so as it is, Aether is pretty much stacked with some of the best here. But as it is, we came here to show off our draft. Now, if you don't know the drafting rules, these are the draft rules. Basically, you have to have 3 mons from tier 1, 3 mons from tier 2, 3 mons from tier 3, 2 mons from tier 4, and then you get a wildcard pick, which is anything from tier 3 or 4. Now, the thing about this is you do not have to draft from tier 1. You basically, we used to go, it was tier 1, tier 1, tier 1, tier 2, tier 2, and as we went down the line. As it is, they decided to step away from that last season, and they went with a different drafting style. You can draft any tier at any time. I actually like that a lot better because then, it doesn't fall to whoever gets first pick in tier 2 gets Arcanine. You can choose whoever you want right off the bat. You can go for whatever you need in that moment. You don't have to try to rely on trying to get something in the lower tiers, but having a bad draft spot for it. So it's going to be interesting. It was something I wasn't quite used to, and it was a very interesting draft. We did start a week early, which there were some draft complications with some people, but I actually didn't know we started a week early. I just happened to check my Discord and we started. So, but as it is, let's get into our draft and let's look at what we got. So, as it is, first thing I wanted is I wanted to get a good Powermon. Now the draft plan that I had put together was kind of like this. I wanted Tapu Fini or I wanted Lando T. I wanted one of those two right off the bat, as they were very high on the priority list. If I can get both, that would have been even better. As I feel Fini and Lando T would have been very, very good. The problem with it is Tapu Fini went 4th overall and Landorus went 5th overall. Or sorry, 6th overall. Wait, so no, 5th overall. We have the 6th pick in the draft. They got sniped out before I even got to me. So at this point, I pretty much took my draft plan, crumpled it up, and threw it in the garbage. It was pretty much exactly what I had to do with it. So at this point, I'm like, okay, what's here? Jirachi's gone, Nagirna's gone, Latios is gone at this point too. And Latios was a really big part of what I wanted, part of this core that I was going to try and build, but the 3 biggest mons that were on the table that I wanted are gone. So at this point, I have to rethink the entire draft. And I'm like, great. How am I going to do this? What am I going to do for this? I don't know what's going on anymore. You know what? let's just YOLO at this pick and let's build around what we pick. So I'm looking at around and I'm like, okay, what do I not want to battle against? And I was like, okay, I look down and I see this mon. I'm like, okay, there's a couple of tabus left. Let's look at the tabus. That was the first initial reaction. Let's look at it. Now I could go Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu is a very, very strong physical attacker. It's grass. Resistant earthquakes are always great. But I'm not the biggest fan of it. So I decided, I'm like, you know what? Let's YOLO this. Let's go with the fast one. Let's go with the one that matters. Let's go with the one I like and I have experience using. So our first pick overall, we picked Tapu Koko, aka Zeus. Now Tapu Koko rocks a staggering 130 speed. He's very, very fast. Not only does it get Volt Switch, it gets a U-turn. Oh yes, this thing is switching out if it wants. So it's not limited to, so, oh hey, he switched in their ground type and now I can't turn anymore. It's like, no, this thing, it doesn't matter. It's a wall breaker. It has 115 physical attack and a 95 special attack. It's a very good mixed attacker. It has a decent move pool, does get access to Wild Charge, does get access to some really good special moves. So it's very good, and I've had some experience using it in the 7th gen, as you guys have seen on past live Wi-Fi battles where I've used it before. It's a very, very good Pokemon. And with this, like I said, I had to YOLO this pick, and I just picked this one because I didn't want to battle against it. And so I felt, I was like, okay, I can pick this and I can build around this one pick, and I can do that. And that's what I did. So Tapu Koko, like I said, it's a wall breaker, it's a Volt Turner. It's exactly what I wanted to start this team with. And I'm like, great, this is what I want. I want something that's fast, hard hitting, and can do a good job at doing damage. And that's what I wanted. So with that, we go down, it comes back, snakes up back to me for pick number 2. Now pick number 2, I'm looking at it, I'm like, what am I weak against? Poison and earth. And at the time I thought steel, but I didn't realize electric resisted steel. But I was like, okay, I need something that resists, at this point in the draft, because I'd forgotten that electric resists steel, that I was like, okay, I need something that resists steel, steel, ground, and poison. Well, I'm looking through the mons, I'm like, what mon does that? I'm like, well, Lando T would have done that, because Lando T has all the right requirements to resist all of that. But the problem is Lando T is gone, like I said before. But what isn't gone is its little stepchild that is just as good, if not very annoying to have to play against. And with this one, with our second pick, I wanted something that was immune to ground and also immune to electric. And so with our next pick, I decided to pick up Gliscor. Gliscor is very good. The name, our nickname for the season is going to be Fujo Sasori. Now, Fujo in Japanese means levitation or levitating. Sasori means scorpion, so its name literally means levitating scorpion, which is very, very scary if I ever see a levitating scorpion, because I will literally shit my pants if I see a levitating scorpion. It is very scary. But Gliscor is one of those mons where it's a very annoying Pokemon to deal with. Doesn't mean it can't die. No, it's quad weak to ice. Damn thing dies almost instantly to any hidden power ice. But it resists everything on the physical side that I want it to. It resists steel. It is immune to electric. It is immune to ground. It's a rocker. It's a defogger. It's a slow turn. It's a physical wall. It's a special wall. It does everything that I want it to do. And I'm like, you know what? This pick works and syncs well with Tapu Koko. Because Tapu Koko can U-turn or Volt Switch on a mon, and then this one can get in and slow turn if they try to switch out into a counter for it. So, as it is, 125 defense, very, very good defensive stat. 75 in the special defense is not bad, not great either, but 95 speed for a tank is for a defensive mon is very good, and 95 attack is not bad either. HP pool is decent. Let's not talk special attack. Special attack is useless. But it's a very good mon. It gives me a rock user and a defogger all in one mon, which is very good to have in one mon. And it also is kind of a double-edged sword, because sometimes you want to run, like 1 or 2 extra moves, but you can't because you want to run rocks, defog, and roost. And then you can only run one move. And if they have like 2 flying units, you can't run earthquake because earthquake's just kind of useless against it. So you got to try and run like toxic, but then they have 2 steel types, and if they bring the steel types, this thing gets just walled. It gets walled out by that. This is a huge pain. But anyways, I like Gliscor. I haven't got to use it in a long time. I believe the battle I had with Cap, when I first met him, I used a Gliscor. And we ended up winning because I had a little bit of speed investment and I outsped a couple of his mons, and I was able to take him out, and I was able to use Gliscor to pretty much get behind subs and use Toxic Heal to heal myself. And it was just like, he couldn't kill it, and I was able to poison his Slowbro. So I was able to just kind of like whittle down his Slowbro while sitting up behind subs, and it was a really cool match. It was a really good match. It was actually the first match we met Cap, and this started our whole thing with having really good matches with Cap. But so I'm excited to use it this season. Like I said, I believe it syncs well with Tapu Koko is what it does. I believe Lando T would have been better, but beggars can't be choosers. So I'll take it. So with that next, I knew I needed to get something that would help me with the weaknesses that this Gliscor was going to have. Now, I'm not too worried about being burned because Poison Heal is pretty much the most standard thing you'll ever see on this thing. Because it's Poison Heal, it heals 12.5% of your HP every turn, at the end of every turn. Why would you not run it? So, I mean, unless you want to run Poison Heal and Leftovers, if you can somehow get the poison on you, but don't look all that heavy on it. But I knew the next one I wanted to dip down a tier, and this is where taking him on at any point in the draft, any tier, it was really going to come in handy because I didn't want to have to wait to get this one. Now I know with this next pick it's a little bit hard to imagine it because your first immediate reaction is it's 4 times a week. Ties. What resists it? Water resists it. What would be a really good mon to pair with this in the tier 2s? Hey, how about Vaporeon? Vaporeon would be very good. It resists everything that Gliscor is weak against. And Gliscor covers its resistance and covers what it's weak against. I'm like, you're right, it does. Problem is it's not the mon I chose. Because I felt Vaporeon, while it is good, it was not what I wanted for this team. So I decided to choose another of the evolutions that I felt was a better fit. And with that, we chose Umbreon, aka Dark Lady. Umbreon gives me what I want: a mixed wall, a heal baller, and a wish passer. Something that can keep Gliscor alive or another Pokemon alive, but it also gives me somebody who can get rid of status as well, should I not bring Gliscor that day or that week. Something I can use to resist and get rid of status. Plus, if you're not noticing how I'm building this team, status is very hard with this team, as you don't want to status Umbreon because you're just going to get status back unless you're randomly a steel typing using a poison or an electric type using that. But I mean, how often does that happen? Usually it's your wall that's using toxic to whittle down the other wall. So yes, while I might be toxic, you in turn get a chance to possibly toxic yourself, and so this kind of really deters against that. Plus, its defenses: 110 defense, 130 special defense. They're very high. It eats special attacks. It can live a decent amount of physical attacks. It has a decent HP pool at 95. It's a wish passer. It's a baton passer as well. Like I said, a couple of battles back on some live Wi-Fi battle, I saw a guy use an Umbreon, cursed it, passed it into a Dragonite, tried to use extreme speed at +2. It works. The first time I came up against it, I got swept, but the second time I wasn't having it. Second time I figured it out. I was like, oh, okay, I'd seen this before. So, but it's a very interesting Pokemon. It gets good moves. Its attack and defense, its attack and special attack are pretty much the same. So if I wanted to run special, I could, but it doesn't have anything to do too much damage. What it is there to do is be annoying, and that is exactly what Umbreon does well, is being annoying. It's surviving and stalling out, PP on your mons that you're like, really? Stop it, just stop. And that's what Umbreon does. Umbreon can eat the ice beams that are coming at Tapu Koko. Or that are coming at Gliscor, or can eat the earth powers that are coming after Tapu Koko. Did you say Tapu Koko twice? Ice beams for Gliscor, earth powers for Tapu Koko. There we go. If I got that wrong, there we go. But it's very annoying, decent, great HP pool, hard to kill. Once you kill it, though, it's gone, obviously. But I mean, it could definitely stall you for some turns, is what it can do. So A great Pokemon, and I'm actually happy to have it because I really like Umbreon, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the team. Like I said, could have gone with Vaporeon, but I felt Vaporeon, while it is very good, I felt it just wasn't the place on this team like it was for Umbreon. I felt Umbreon was the better placement for this team, especially because the next pick I had, I wanted a different water type. So I didn't want to overstack my water types out of my tier 2s. So with the next pick, I decided to pick up my water type. And with this one, I wanted to pick up a Mon that I had been dying to use in League format. I love this Mon. It is one of my favorite Gen 2 legendaries. And with that, I'm happy to have and finally be able to use Suicune, aka Susanoo. So, Suicune, you know what it does. It's a bulky water type. It's a setup sweeper. Crocoon is nothing to sleep on. Yes, you can get around it, but it is still a very hard, it's a great Mon. It's very bulky, 100 in HP, 115 in both defenses. It's very bulky. 85 speed is not bad. 90 special attack, very good. It's a Scald user. Wartortles is still good too. I mean, there's a lot of very good options for this Pokemon. And it is very bulky and very hard to play around. And that's exactly why I wanted it. And plus, it also gives me another resistance to Ice Beam, as Umbreon can eat an Ice Beam, though it takes it as neutral damage. This thing resists it, and with the defenses that it has, it takes very little damage from it. So with that, like I said, it's my favorite Gen 2 legendary dog. I love this thing. It's absolutely amazing. The first time I ever saw its design, when I first started playing Generation 2, when I started playing Gold, the original Gold, I saw this thing and I fell in love with it. I loved this thing and I always wanted it. So any chance it popped up in the wild on me, I always tried to capture it, even at like level 4 and it's level 50. I still tried to capture it. But with that, I feel the team is coming together. I have a very fast turner. I have a very slow turner. I have a Wish Passer and a Baton. I have a Wish and Baton Passer, and then I have a bulky setup sweeper. So with the next pick, I wanted something that could also help resist Ice Beam, but also give me a Steel type, as I wanted to try and build this Dragon Fairy Steel core. I have my Fairy, and I want to build it. So with the next one, I wanted something that gave me another Rock user, and I wanted something that had a lot of bulk, had a lot of defenses, and so I dipped down into tier 3 at this point because I wanted to grab this Mon before it disappeared. And so with the next pick I picked up, we ended up picking up Registeel, aka Full Metal. This thing is a wall. It is a mixed wall, 150 both defenses. It doesn't matter which way I take it. It's gonna be bulky as hell, is what this thing is going to be. It is a stealth rocker. Love it. It is, it has no reliable recovery. It doesn't need it, because it's good. And in League format, sometimes it's really good. I've seen matches where this thing is very, very good. Having a Steel type, it gives you so many resistances, and at this point, the only thing I'm seeing that I have a problem with is I'm starting to build a fighting weakness, a fighting and a ground weakness, because it's weak to ground and fighting, but so is Umbreon is weak to fighting, but and Tapu Koko is weak to ground. And but it resists Bug, which is what Umbreon is weak to. So I mean, I'm kind of filling in the holes with what I need, and I felt Registeel definitely filled the holes with what I needed. Like I said, I needed a second stealth rocker, is what I wanted, and I needed somebody who I could change walls on the fly, or even just do kind of a setup. Like he could possibly be another setup sleeper. He does get access to Curse, as it's already slow, so why not just bolster its defenses and let it go to town? So I'm interested in using it this year. I believe it's going to be very good. I just need to be careful with how I pair it with things, because I feel that certain things will be better than others. So I definitely need to make sure that I bring it to the right matches, and I give it the right switch-ins to the right Mons. But I believe Registeel is a very good Mon, and I believe it can fit well on this team. Now with that, I looked back, I'm looking at it now, and at this point, I know I have a fighting weakness, but I wanted to pick up my last tier 1 Mon, And it was actually a very good thing that I did it when I did it on this round, because this mon would not have made it to the next round, as when I picked it, I actually sniped a Linsco for it, as he had the pick right after me on this, because we are coming from the bottom, so he had the pick right after me. And so this next mon, I wanted to get something that was hard hitting. I wanted fire, and I wanted fighting. I wanted something that had a great move pool, great speed, and could be mixed in any way of a special to physical attacker. And so with that, I'm happy to have our boy Flarambe, the Infernape. Now, Infernape, very fast, very hard hitting. 104s in the attacks and 108 in the speed. Very, very hard hitting. This also gives me an extra rocker, as this now I have three primary rock setups. As I have Infernape, I have Regirock, and I have Gliscor, who can set up rocks. This guy is also a mixed attacker, as the special sets are not to be taken lightly. It does get access to priority Vacuum Wave, priority Mach Punch. That's exactly what I wanted, was fighting priority and just any type of good priority right there. This also gives me a fast turner, as well, as I'm able to U-turn out and get into this. So with this, I have 3 mons that can turn and 1 that can baton pass at this point, which is actually very good from what I wanted for this team. Is I wanted this team to get in and be able to switch at will and at random, and also just to do clean chunks of damage. Plus, at this point, as you can see, I'm bulky, but I don't have a lot of the attack. And this helps amend that kind of attack that I was needing at the point. Because right now it was really relying on Tapu Koko to really do all the damage. But now I have Infernape, and Infernape can help deal lots of damage too, as close combat is nothing to sit on, is nothing to not be scared of, as Infernape with close combat is just insanely good. So with that, I've actually been dying to use Infernape. It's one of my favorite mons. I wanted it in Season 3, but Cap got it the day before I went to go drop a couple of things for Season 4. And I felt Infernape would have been a better option than Talonflame, but Talonflame was what I just took because I needed a fire type that was a wall breaker, and ended up working poorly against me. But it is what it is. We do what we do. And I'm liking what this thing adds to the team. And that's what I like about it. So I believe our Infernape, Flarambe, is going to be really good on this team this year, as this gives me, like I said, fighting stab. It gives me fire stab. This gives me something that is a grass deterrent. This also gives me, but it does open me up to another ground weakness, which sucks because now I have, as you can see, I'm starting to build this ground weakness, and I'm not all that happy about it, but it is what it is. If I can get them out, you know, it's like come in, turn, get out, and get into something else. It's just the way that I want it to be. So I'm happy to have Infernape, and I'm happy to be able to use it this season. I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. So with that, I knew I was going to start dipping into tier 3 again, because at this point I had one defogger, and that was Gliscor. And I knew at this point I wanted to get another spinner / defogger. And I wasn't quite sure exactly what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted something hard hitting, whether it had speed or not. And I was looking at what the spinners were, and you know, there was, you know, at this point Serena's gone out of tier 2, and I was kind of like, okay, that one's gone, and a couple other spinners in tier 2 are gone. And I'm looking at tier 3, and I see this mon, and I'm like, you know what, this one could actually prove to be really good depending on how I use it. It's not very fast, but it also gives me that status type of thing that I was wanting to build with this team, is to make it very difficult to status my team. So with that, I'm happy to say I got into tier 3 and I picked up the rapid spinner Kamala, aka caffeine. I need caffeine. So Kamala is immune to status, which is really great. It's not being slowed, it's not being burned, it's not being poisoned. Doesn't matter. It's comatose. Nothing. Status is this thing. But what it also has is a whopping 115 attack. It doesn't have the speed that I would like it, but it does give me access to spin. It gives me a slow turner. And it actually gives me another wish passer. I totally forgot this thing had wish pass, but I mean, it can wish pass. It's not the greatest, but I mean, a utility set with this thing could be very good depending on what it is. It actually is 95 in the special defense, which makes it a very decent special wall. Especially if we rock something like an AV, you can give it like HP and defense, and then just kind of like use it as a pivoter, like a a pivot mon that can eat, you know, that's very defensive. So his thing also gets a decent move pool while giving me Earthquake, which is at 115 Earthquake. That's gonna hit like a truck no matter who it hits. But Kamala is one of those ones. It can be used very badly or used very good, and so I'm interested to see how I'm going to use it this season. Like I said, it is a spinner. It is a default. It's a spinner slash default. It doesn't get default, but it's a spinner. This is what I wanted. I wanted somebody else so that way I didn't always have to rely on Gliscor for it. And so this gives me a second option on having to rely on that, and allows me a lot of ways to get rid of things that I need to get rid of. So I'm also actually interested in building some attack sets for this thing. So I really can't wait to see what kind of things I can build with this. So with that, it comes back. It goes. I believe it goes down and comes back up around to us. And at this point, there's one mon I was looking at. I wanted. It complements Tapu Koko. There's no way I can let somebody else have it to use it against me. I need to have this thing on my team. And so after Kamala, I was like, I need to get this one. This one I need to get. This one has to be on the team because it synchronizes with Tapu Koko and what it does. Yes, this thing opens me to another Earth weakness, but I don't even care at that point because I want it so people can't use it against me. And with that, in our next pick, in our, I believe it was 8th round. Is it 8th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. In our 8th round, we decided to pick up Alolan Raichu, aka the Syrup Surfer. Alolan Raichu gets Surge Surfer, so if electric terrain is up, its speed is doubled. I can outspeed anything. You're scarfed, doesn't matter. I double the speed and I outspeed you. Doesn't matter. This thing is a Wall Breaker and Volt Turner. This is exactly what I wanted it for. It also gives me Stab Psychic, since in the Alolan Raichu gains the Psychic typing, so this is definitely something I wanted. It's a very interesting set, and it even actually gets some really kind of cool moves. It actually can get Surf. If you bring one of the Surf Pikachus over and evolve it, you can actually get Surf Pikachu. Surf Alolan Raichu. It is possible because it is an event Pikachu with Surf that you would have to transfer down the generations to do it, but you can do it. But it is something like I wanted on the team. I wanted this. I wanted some Stab Psychic. I wanted something that was fast. Another Turner. 95 defenses, 110 speed. So, I mean, I think it gets up to like 178 speed at like level 50 and like full speed invested, full timid nature, and then double that. So it's 356 speed. What do you know that reaches on 356 speed? Like you'd have to bring in Sand Excadrill. Even Sand Excadrill doesn't outspeed this thing. I mean, I'd hit a Focus Blast and you'd be done. I hit Hidden Power Fighting and you'd be done. So it's a very it's a great mon. Like I said, it synchronizes very well with Tapu Koko. A lot of the earlier Gen 7 battles I saw a lot of Tapu Koko and Alolan Raichus floating around on Showdown, so this was definitely something I wanted to bring together. Just like I saw a lot of Tapu Leles and Mega Alakazams, just because they work in synchronization together, and this makes its attack, or not just its speed, but its primary stab and electricity very powerful since it's under electric terrain. So I'm very happy to have it this season. I can't wait to use it. I can't wait to sync it up with Tapu Koko and do some really cool and weird shenanigans with it. So with that we go in, and at this point I'm ready to pretty much just go through I'm ready to go through and pick all my tier 3 picks, because at this point the mon I want for tier 2 I know will still be there at the end of the draft. In fact, I actually left the last pick for my tier 2 pick, and some people actually left their tier 1 all the way to the end. So like I said, but there's some great mons in tier 2. The next mon I wanted to get, I wanted a physical powerhouse. I wanted something that was good. Something that also has some switch initiative, but not in the way of turning. It's got switch initiative, alright. Just not the kind I'm kind of used to. I wanted a wall breaker, physical wall breaker. And there's no mon that is more powerful than this beast. We ended up getting Golisopod, aka Karuta. Now, if you don't know what Karuta is a style of Japanese samurai armor. So I don't know why he reminds me of wearing like samurai armor, so I chose the name Karuta because it's a style of Japanese samurai armor. This thing, 125 attack, 140 defense, 90 special defense. I didn't even know it had 90 special defense. I knew its special defense wasn't I knew it wasn't as good as its defenses were, but I didn't realize it was 90. I actually thought it was like 70. But having it at 90 even exceeded my expectations, as you can throw an assault vest on this thing and it would be difficult to do damage to it. As bug, yes, it's going to take rock damage because water does not resist rock, but what you can do is you get a thing that is resistant to earthquake. You get something that is resistant to ice beam. You get something that is resistant to water. It's a very great mod. What you don't want to do is get it burned because this thing gets nerfed when it's burned. But that's why I have things with Heal Bell on it, because Golisopod is a very, very hard hitting mod. It's slow. I understand that. But how many people really want to switch into choice banded liquidations? Not many do. And it hits hard. Plus it has +2 priority in first impression, which is Buck Stab. Plus it also gets the access to the new Buck Stab of Leech Life. And Leech Life got a huge buff in 7th generation, so it is extremely hard hitting and has ways of keeping its HP up, which is really good, unless it's like quad resisted, but it doesn't really matter. But I'm actually really happy to use it this season. I've actually been wanting to use it since it came out in 7th gen, but I just haven't found the right team to put it on to use it. And so this team I felt he would put in a very good place on this team because of how it was built, how it works together with things. This does give me another electric weakness, but like I said, this gives me another ground resistance, as I now have been building up this ground resistance here. And plus it's got 140 defense, so it can eat an earthquake like it's nothing. So now with the next pick, I finally dipped down into tier 4s for the next 2 picks, and I wanted to try and get the tier 4 picks that I wanted. This next pick was actually really hard because I had another mon I wanted to get, and then I decided to pick this one first because I wasn't sure if anybody else was going to want it. I knew the next one was kind of on some priority lists, but maybe not as high. But I knew that the way the draft was going to be snaking down from the top, that I would have 6 picked in the next round. So I felt like the next mon would wait until we got it. And so with this one, I definitely wanted to pick up another Heal Beller, and I wanted to pick up somebody who was I think is good outside of using just the one ability that it has. It has 3 abilities, but mostly everybody uses it for one ability: Shadow Tag. And with that, you should already know who I'm looking at. I am looking at the Lolita herself, Gothitelle, aka Doku Rorita. Now, Doku Rorita is Japanese for dark or black Lolita, and so I believe it's Doku means dark, and then Rorita is Lolita in Japanese. So we have Doku Rorita. I actually really like the name because it's just good at what it does. This thing has other abilities. Shadow Tag is banned in our league. We've had it banned for the last, I think, 3 seasons, because we did have it in season 3, but people hated planning for it. And Shadow Tag is one of those things that is just kind of stupid to always have to play against. And I've seen it in other leagues where Shadow Tag has been banned. So Gothitelle is in our tier 4 only because you are not allowed to use Shadow Tag, which is fine by me. I don't actually see this thing for using Shadow Tag. And now another ability it gets Frisk, which is very good because I can scout items. Scouting items can tell you whether something has a berry. It's like, oh hey, this is choice scarf. It's like, oh good, that's good information to know that this thing is choice scarf, because herp derp, I need to know, if I'm gonna get outsped, I want to know this, especially if I'm going to be outsped with a terrible matchup. I can't tell you how many times I have lost Pokemon due to being outsped by Scarf and not knowing it. Like, I've got the advantage, but he has a move that has the advantage, and it's one of those things like, well, if he's Scarfed, he's gonna beat me. Yeah, well, now I can know. But what this thing does offer me is it offers me another mixed wall. 95 defense, 110 special defense. It also offers me another Heal Beller while offering me a setup sweeper. This thing does get Calm Mind. It has a decent move pool. It has Bolt Beam. It has Psychic. It has Shadow Ball. This thing is just bulky as all hell. I'll take it. I'll take our Lolita and I will bulk her the hell out. And I will use her. I'm hoping to use her in ways that other people can try to get around. You got a defogger? Fine. Bring her in. Go ahead, defog, give me the +2. I will take it all day, every day. You know, and that's not something you want to that's not something you want to switch in on, knowing that you now have a +2 Gothitelle, which you have no idea what item this thing has, you know, unless you know it has leftovers. But I mean, did you imagine +2 Gothitelle with a Specs? Oh god, that thing would hit like a freaking truck. It doesn't matter what you bring in. It's like +2 is like, okay, I'm gonna resist the Psychic. Oh god, it still did 55%. Like, well, I'm in +2 now, so, and you know, it's bulky enough to live one of most hits. It usually takes 2 or 3 hits to take this thing out, unless you got a really high physical attacker. But I mean, the thing is ridiculous. It's ridiculously bulky, which I like. 95 in a special attack is not bad either. I mean, its speed is not there, but who cares? You know, baton pass a couple of things over to it, or you know, baton pass, you know, an agility over to it, because Gliscor gets agility and it gets baton pass as well. So I have 2 baton passers. So I could baton pass agility over, and for all you know, I now have the double speeded Gothitelle. Let her set up a couple Calm Minds. But what are you gonna do against that? So it's one of those things that I'm actually really interested to get creative with this thing, and that's what I really want to do, is get creative with it. I think this thing will have great advantages against certain teams, and it will be one of those mons that's like, how the hell do I play around this? And I believe it's going to be a great thing. So I've been wrong before, but I'm really hoping that I'm not wrong with this. So with that, we go into the next round. We got 2 picks left. This one I knew I wanted. I was kind of hoping for its unevolved form, but its unevolved form is in the tier 3, and after picking up Galissapod, all my tier 3 picks were gone. So I had to kind of improvise, and I decided to go with this next pick because it's its fully evolved form, but it gives me somebody who's another bulky attacker, and it gives me somebody who can hit hard. But also what it gives me is a spin blocker, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a ghost type, and with this, I take out a T4. I take Dusknoir, aka Yurei. Yurei in Japanese means ghost. So if you don't know what that means, a lot of the names I just took a Japanese meaning, or a meaning of what the mon is, and I slapped it with a Japanese name. So that's what I did with a lot of them this season, except for some of them, like, you know, Full Metal. Full Metal, for obvious reasons, referencing Full Metal Alchemist. So with that, I've always wanted to use a Dusknoir. I've never got a chance to use it. It does get Stab, Shadow Sneak. It gets Sucker Punch. It's a Pursuit Trapper, which is very good for us because one thing I was missing was a Pursuit Trapper. So I'm really happy to be able to use it. It's 135 in both defenses. Very, very bulky. It's almost up there as bulky as our Registeel. Sorry, I lost track of where I was going. Doesn't have the greatest HP pool in the world. A little sad, but it is manageable. It has 100 in the attack. It's a very, very hard-hitting physical attacker. But like I said, it's here because it's a spin blocker. I wanted it to spin block, and I'll take that all day, every day. So, come in, Shadow Sneak, maybe get a Will-O-Wisp off, give it a Choice Band, let this thing just go to town on something. You know, have fun with it. So I think this will also hit psychic types really hard, also hitting other ghost types really hard. It just really depends on how we want to play that, how I want to play that out. So I'm really interested to see how this works this season, and to get creative with this thing as well. So now, lastly, we have our last one. It is our 12th pick, and as you can see at the bottom of the screen right now, there's only 11 picks. I forgot as I was making these that we had 12 Pokemon, and this is also the same layout that I used for the NPL draft video. I just did not want to make another one, as I feel that this one is good enough to do all leagues, or any leagues that I do. I like the way it looks. So with this next pick, we go back into T2. This is the only spot we have left. I know I want a dragon. A lot of the big main dragons are already picked. Como was there, but I didn't want another fighting type. I didn't want a 4x weakness fairy either. I guess it wouldn't have been all that bad as he gets a decent move pool, but I felt what I needed was I have some great physical attackers. What I want is a very hard-hitting, it was a very decently good hard-hitting special attacker. I wanted something that was fast. At this point in the draft, I now have a bunch of slow mons, but I think I only have 4 mons that are above base 100. This one gives me a 5th one. I think there's one mon that sits at 95, which is Gliscor, I think. Yeah, Gliscor sits at 195, or sits at 95. But what this thing can do is it hits hard. Choice specs, the thing just hits like a freaking truck. It offers me a pretty diverse move pool. Its typing offers me a big weakness, but I have the resistances now by this time in the draft that I am not worried about taking a quad weak attack on something else. So with that, there were 2 mons, 2 dragons. There were 3 dragons. There was Como, but I didn't want to use Como. I didn't want Como, so I kind of ruled that out as unless it was like a 3rd option, unless these 2 got picked. But at this point in the draft, the 3 of them were there, unless randomly one other person takes the first one I want. So Como was there, but I didn't want it. Next up was Goodra. Goodra was definitely plaguing me for the last couple of parts of the draft, just because I knew we were going to be picking a dragon in the last round. Goodra was still there. It is bulky as all hell. 150 in the special defenses, 100 in the special attack. It's bulky. 80 in the defenses, 100 in the attack. Its physical defense worries me because I don't have many things to take physical attacks very well. Some of them do, some of them don't. But what I wanted was something that was also not going to leave me open to just Earthquake running through my team. So I definitely wanted something that was not going to be a liability to somebody's choice banded Earthquake. And with that, this dragon was definitely at the top. This one was there because it is fast. This one also is a turner. This one is a special wall breaker. This one hits hard. It's not as hard hitting as some of the other dragons out there. Trust me, it's not high on the list of that. But it's something I have actually been wanting to use for a long time. So with this one, with our final pick, we pick up our dragon and round out our Dragon Fairy Steel Core with Noivern, aka Okina Oto. Now, Okina means loud. It means loud or a loud sound. Oto means noise or sound. So Okina Oto very much just means loud sound or loud noises. Is pretty much what it means. I could have just named it Loud Noises, but that would have been cool. Noivern is one of those mons that I faced in Season 2. And it was very annoying. It's very annoying to have to play against. I had to come up with creative ways to getting it killed because its speed was hard to deal with. It's 123 speed, which is very, very fast. It also gets access to U-turn, which is another thing I wanted it for, is I wanted things that could turn. I now have a bunch of mons on the team that can turn or baton pass, or I can get a way of getting them out without having to hard switch them out. So with that, he also gives me a special wall breaker. The spec set is nothing to sleep on, as he hits extremely hard with Specs Draco Meteor, unless it's resisted, but even then it still does clean chunks of damage. So he's got a decent HP pool. Defenses are shmeh, but the speed is there, so I'm hoping to get this thing in and out before it can take a huge attack. It is weak to rocks, so I do have to play careful with the rock usage, with rocks on my side of the board, and make sure that they are gone, allowing this thing to come in and do damage and do what it needs to do. The Life Orb set is actually still really good, but just because of its speed, it adds bonuses with allowing me to attack with different moves. It has a decent move pool coverage. Gets access to Hurricane, which is something I have yet to have on a mon before. So I'm very interested in seeing it use Hurricane. So I'm actually thinking this team, while it is a little weird to look at on paper, but I feel that they can work together and what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are and do the job effectively. So with that is our team. Golden State Wartortles, Reddit Battle League Season 16. So again, we have Zeus, our Tapu Koko, Fujo Sasori, our Gliscor. We have Dark Lady, our Umbreon. We have Susanoo, our Suicune, sorry, I always blank on the name. We have Full Metal, our Registeel. We have Flarambe, our Infernape. We have Caffeine, our Komala. We have the Syrup Surfer, Alolan Raichu. We have Karuta, our Golisopod. We have Dokurorita, our Gothitelle. Sorry, I'm losing track of where I'm going here. Our Gothitelle. And then we have Yurei, our Dusknoir, and then we have Okina Oto, or Noivern. So it's a very interesting team, very hard, very fast hitting team. So I definitely have to play this to my strength. Like I said, there are a lot of great people in the RBL and a lot of very, very good teams. So I have to play very good this season. Otherwise, I will be it's just not going to go very well for us. So with that, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I have a lot of confidence in this team. And our first match is going to be, we start the 19th, which is week 1 for us. So if we're going to do uploads, they have to be pretty much done by the Saturday of the week after that. So they start on the 19th, which means we have to have them completed by the 25th. So they go Sunday to Saturday. So our first match is against Patrick and his Atlanta Altarias. Now he has a pretty decent team, as his team consists of Manaphy, Thunderous Eye, Necrozma, Nidoqueen, Decidueye, Haxorus. You know, he has a very, very good team. I don't think I'll be doing team builder videos, but I am going to try and do most of these battles on the cartridge, unless it is just unable to. I think my week 2 battle or like week 4 battle or something like that, I think is going to have to be on Showdown, just because one guy does TCG and he does not want anything that could be labeled as illegal, an illegal mon on his team. It takes time for him to breed his mons, so whether he can do it on card or not, I don't know, but if not, we'll do that one on Showdown. But I will try to bring you the battles the best I can, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys like the team, and I hope that we get a chance to show that this team can actually put in some work. I'm very, very interested to see if this team puts in a lot of work. We will have 3 drops and the almost full amount of trades, no matter how many I want to make within the season, up until I think it's week 9, I think is when they stop trade deadline. But I'm interested to see how the team works together. I think they're going to work well together. So I will hopefully see you guys in a couple of about a week or two when we have our first match, and I'm able to record it and bring it to you and show you guys just exactly how it went with this team. Alright, so I will see you guys in our next video, and have yourselves a great day. Alright, bye.